I am obligated to tell you you're being audio and video recorded. And we will start with a roll call, Laura. Thank you.
Sure. Councillor Maori.
Here.
Councillor Labarge.
Here.
Councillor Moulton. Oops, maybe I need
We
to.
cannot unmute it.
Okay, let me.
I'll make him a co-host.
I think I just asked. Oops.
He's still muted.
Yeah.
You know, I hit.
Got it. I am here.
You are
Okay.
here.
And Councillor Nash.
Here.
Excellent. So we have a quorum. So the first thing we have on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Thank you for getting those together, Laura.
Right.
I would
Move to
entertain a
approve.
motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion or roll call?
Sure. Councillor Labarge.
Yes.
Councillor Maori.
Yes.
Councillor Moulton.
Yes.
And Councillor Nash.
Yes.
Okay, minutes are approved. Moving swiftly to our continuation of our public hearing to alter the layout of Winter Street, continued from May 11, 2022. We are actually going to change courses here. And because the layout has been terminated without a decision, we need to close the public hearing.
I'll second that hearing. That motion.
So is that
Well,
your
we need
motion?
someone to make a motion to,
Yeah,
I make
I'll move that we close the hearing without determination.
thank you. And then a second from Councilor
yes.
Labarge. Excellent. Right. Yes, Councilor Nash.
Yeah, I just want, before we close, I just want to ask the room if there's anybody who'd like to speak prior to us closing the hearing, although we are probably not moving forward with this matter, just
Right.
if somebody wants to speak, and I'm not seeing anybody, so.
Thank you for pausing for that, because it is a public hearing, and before we close, we would want to hear from everyone, even though this motion, the original hearing purpose isn't been terminated. So if there's no member of the public, I would say roll call on the motion to close the public hearing. Laura.
Councillor Maori, sure.
Yes.
Councillor Labarge.
Yes.
Councillor Moulton.
Yes.
And Councillor Nash.
Yes.
Okay, so the public hearing is now closed, and so I would entertain a new motion based on the new information we've received on this project
Uh-huh.
to hold on just a sec. I just lost my agenda. So we've heard from Solicitor Seawald, and we also have DPW Director LaSalia here, and we could let them speak on this. What we heard, Solicitor Seawald was going to join us. He might be late because he was, in the I believe it was the Board of Health meeting. So he might be here, but he did send us a letter recommending that we support the new course, which will be an easement on Winter Street for the purposes of drainage and snow storage and removal. So that's what we would be recommending to full council, that motion. If how are the committee members feeling? Would you like to hear from Director LaSalia or?
Yes.
Yes.
Please.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Welcome, Director. I'm moving fast tonight like an auctioneer. I don't know what's up with me. A little too much coffee.
I don't know either.
I'll take a breath.
Okay, thanks, Counselor. So yes, what we're looking to do at this point is we're looking for your positive recommendation for us to take an easement over the area in question. So this is the same area we've been talking about at the dead end of Winter Street. It's roughly 33 by 70. We need legal access to this area in order to enable us to put the Winter Street reconstruction project out to bid. And before we can do that, we need an order of conditions from the Conservation Commission, and that actually has to be part of the bid package. So that's why we're trying to move this along. And at this point, the abutters on either side of this 33 by 70 area own to the center line. So in the documents that I sent earlier today, there's a plan, and in the plan it shows parcel A and parcel B. So the parcel is actually split in half for the purposes of this discussion tonight. And each abutter owns to the center line. So what we are looking for is an easement. We're looking to take an easement over this entire area, as you said, Counselor, for the purposes of drainage and for the purposes of snow removal and storage. Because Winter Street is a dead-end street, so we have to push the snow all the way to the end of the street and then store it there in order to remove it in a way that allows for the roadway to be de-iced. But again, the purposes of this easement is some housekeeping for us from a legal standpoint, so that we can properly permit and bid this project. So I'm looking for a positive recommendation from you to go to the full council to acquire this easement.
Counselor Moulton.
I move that we issue a positive recommendation on the request for easement for drainage and snow removal.
Right.
Yes, Counselor Labarge.
Yes. We've been told by our city solicitor, right, that we had a request that our hearing on the layout of Winter Street be terminated. And now Donna's coming in and talking about that our committee recommend that the city acquire drainage easements, but not to lay out a public way. Correct, Donna? Correct?
Yes, that's correct. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble with my mute button. Yes, that's correct. So for our purposes, we just need an easement for drainage. We don't need to lay it out as a public way.
Okay, thank you.
Right. It seems like a more precise approach to the problem. Yeah,
Exactly.
Counselor Moulton.
So I want to thank Director LaScalia for her work to trying to untangle what started as a fairly innocuous request and has become more complicated. She's worked with Attorney Seawald on this. I've talked to the neighbors most affected by the water main breaks in 2006 and 2019 who had property damage. And of course that risk remains. So they're very concerned about getting this infrastructure project done during this construction season. So I am supporting and urge us to move ahead with this expeditiously.
Right. Counselor Nash.
Yeah, I don't know if Councilor Labarge beat me to this, but I would like to second Councilor Moulton's motion. And I also want to say that, I'm looking at our previous, the documents we already had. And one of them is, let's see, what is it? It is 22.076, an order authorizing the acquisition of easements to alter the layout of Winter Street. And I think that just in terms of, so we don't seem like we're going completely, making stuff up out of whole cloth. We have this order that was sent to us, and that what we'd like to send. I'm going to propose that we alter your motion, Councilor Moulton, to say that we want to send this order back to council.
Yes.
With a positive recommendation, less the layout, that because this is talking about easements. And
exactly.
So, and I think that relates to what Councilor Labarge's point was as well. So I think this I like that it keeps everything nice and neat, that we're actually dealing with the legislation rather than, it's not new legislation. We're actually ultimately what this was about was getting the easement so we could get the street done. So that would
Yes.
be
I
nice.
accept that. I accept that language, and that's entirely correct.
Okay, cool.
And you second your own amendment there, Counselor Nash, right? I guess-
Yeah, so am I,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that, that's right. As long as Laura can follow what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's simple.
If we lose Laura, we're in trouble because I don't, guys is out of the woods of municipal governance rules. That makes sense to me. That's great because we're kind of building on what's there and
Exactly.
okay. And this is very time sensitive so I'm glad we're moving on this because we don't really know when these drainage problems will, hit a critical place. Yes, Councilor Labarge.
Yes, and I also think you have the language from our city solicitor, and it says it exactly what this is all about. We heard Donna Luscalia talk just a little while ago about the 33 by 70 and the easement over the entire area and drainage, okay? And this is exactly what your language is stating, which Councilor Nash just repeated again. And that's what he's asking us to charge as our committee to send to city council.
That's right. So yes, Councilor Nash.
Yeah, and I just want to say, underline why we want to send this with a positive recommendation. We were charged with doing a public hearing. We've done that. We've heard from folks, and clearly everybody wants this to move forward and get resolved. I know that there's the NIBORs would like it resolved as well. They may be moving a little bit slower than, the rest of the neighbors want this done pronto. And so I'm comfortable with, this moving this with a positive recommendation back to council.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, yes, Director.
I just want to add that there may be some revision that's needed to the actual language of the easement to make it more specific, which will be done before it goes back to council for the second time. So I just want to add that I've had that conversation with the city solicitor, and there will likely be some minor revisions to that language. So hopefully that's not problematic to this committee.
Right, no, we can revisit the language and you can point it out when it comes to full council, but I'm comfortable with this. Are we?
Okay, and I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Counselor, just
go
one
for it.
more thing that I want to let this committee know is that we do have an opinion of value on this parcel from the city's assessor. And so we will be paying damages, it's called damages, to each abutter in the amount of $1,000. So each of the abutters on either side of this parcel will each receive $1,000 from the city for this easement.
Okay.
Oh, that's very good information.
Yeah,
Thank
it is.
Okay, any other comments from councilors, directors? If not, we do have a motion on the floor and a second. So we could do a roll call. Thank you, Laura.
Councilor Maori,
Yes.
Councilor Labarge,
Yes.
Councilor Moulton,
Yes,
and Councilor Nash.
Yes.
Okay, so that it will go to city council with a positive recommendation. And I guess there's nothing else on the agenda besides any new business, or we didn't have any financial orders. So if there's no new business,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
roll call, please.
Councilor Maori,
Yes.
Councilor Labarge,
Yes.
Councilor Moulton,
yes.
and Councilor Nash.
Yes.
We are so adjourned, and I will go meet the other 8th grade parents, and we are going to practice singing Don't Stop Believin'.